Morning everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna talk about my Amish childhood and what it's like growing up as an Amish kid. Now as an Amish child, the first language that you're gonna learn is gonna be Pennsylvania Dutch because that is the native language among the Amish communities. And that's the only language that you're gonna speak until you start going to school around the 2nd grade. They start teaching you English because you also have to learn to communicate with the world around you. And also in 2nd grade, once you start learning English, you're expected to speak English in school, but at home you're expected to only speak Pennsylvania Dutch. They do not like it if you speak English at home because they feel like it's gonna take over and eventually the original language is not gonna be a thing anymore. And I know that because when I was learning English in school, it was something new and exciting. So I would try to speak it at home as well because I just thought it was fun. It was fun to speak another language, but that was shut down real quick because my parents did not like that. And then in the 4th grade, we have to start learning German. I don't know if you know this, but all of our religious material is in German. I have something here that my dad gave to me when I first left the Amish because he was just trying to do anything that would make me change my mind and come back. And he thought this would help me do that. I am glad he did give me this because when I left, I didn't take any of these books, anything like that. And this book has some Amish hymns in it. It has the Amish prayers in it. It has like the marriage ceremony. It has that in here as well. This book is basically an overview of all the Amish religion stuff. This is what it looks like in the front. It reads in meiner Jugend. It means in my youth. And then this is what it looks like inside. Let me look up some Amish hymns and so I can show you what Amish hymns look like. Oh, this is a good one. This is a very popular among the Amish and it's a very common one as well. This is what it looks like. It's hymn number 156. It goes as sinds en wegen dieser Zeit, die reine small die Randerweit. And then over here, it tells you in English what that means. Basically, it's one side is in German and the next side is in English. So if you don't know German, it is also in English. This book I think would have been better for younger kids in the Amish community because they would have actually been able to understand what is being preached, what they're saying during the prayers, what they're singing, all of that stuff. And I think it would have helped them understand the religion more. But up until you're fluent in German, you don't really know what is being preached, prayed, or sang about in church because you can't understand the language. So I think this book would have actually helped with that. But we didn't even have access to this. The only material that we had was in German. And then we didn't start learning German until the 4th grade, which you're like 10 years old by that time. And then it takes you a while to also learn the language to be able to understand what is being said in church. If they had given us this book to help us learn German in school, I think it would have helped. But they only gave us German books. It wasn't too hard, but I think this would have helped. This would have been a good book to have while learning German in school. I just noticed this. It's called a devotional reader. I must say I've never really actually looked at this book. Oh, I just noticed this. Here it also shows like the copy of the matrimony, like when you marry somebody. And then in this next page, it's the same thing, but this one is for Lancaster County. That's crazy. I didn't even know that. This is actually interesting. This might actually help me understand the Amish religion myself. We start school in 1st grade when we're 6 years old, and then we go until 8th grade, where we graduate by the age of 14 to 15 years old. In school, we learn the basic subjects of reading, math, English, spelling, and then German on Fridays. That's the only subjects we learn. By the time we start school, we're also expected to learn the basics of cooking, cleaning, gardening, and all that stuff so that we can help out around the house when they get super busy. And at that age, you're also gonna have your own chores, which is gonna be like cleaning the chickens, taking out the trash, washing dishes is a good one. Like at that age, you're the one that cleans the dishes because your older siblings have other stuff that needs to be done, like canning or sewing and all that stuff. I also think it was different for me because I grew up in such a big family, so we had to help out more, but there was also a lot of us, so we could all just pitch in. Like, because when I was 10 years old, I had a sister that was 12 and a sister that was 9, so like the 3 of us could always help each other, so it didn't seem like that much. And another thing, if you are that age and you refuse to help out, you refuse to cook, clean, and all that stuff, then you're considered childish or just plain lazy, and they do not tolerate that at all. Whereas if you're years old, I feel like you're still a child. You should be able to still be a child, but in the Amish community, that's not a thing. You're expected to act like a grown up at a very young age, which is also why it's so crazy to sometimes see the people out here act the way they do at the age they do. One thing I really don't like about the Amish is how they use God to threaten kids at a very young age for lying, getting in trouble, misbehaving, not listening to their parents, or just as simple as just talking back. We all know kids are gonna do that stuff, like they're kids. But in the Amish community, they use the fear of God. Like they will tell them, if you don't stop that, or if you do that, you will go to hell. That God won't like that, or God will send you to hell, and then they expect you to want to follow God. They try to make you believe in their religion by putting fear in you that if you don't, you're going to hell. All that stuff, which imagine 6 years old. And then they don't understand why kids grow up and want to leave, and don't want to live the Amish lifestyle. They don't want to believe in the religion that they taught them about, and they don't want to be a part of the church. They don't get that. I'm not gonna lie, when I was a kid, I was the biggest snitch. But in my defense, it was because of them putting the fear of God in me and telling me if you don't snitch on your sibling and stuff like that, that I would go to hell. You know, that's traumatic. Like, that is very scary as a kid. When I first left, whenever I would get into my car and I would drive, I would always be so scared. Like, I would be traumatized that I'm gonna have a crash, because they would always tell me if you leave the Amish and you buy a car and stuff like that, God could cause a car crash that would kill you and send you to hell. So those first couple years, driving my car was extremely traumatic. But I don't know, somehow I got over it. That doesn't mean I don't believe in God. I just don't believe it's that simple. But overall, I was very lucky with the childhood that I had, because I know that some Amish kids are not that lucky. They do not have the greatest childhood, and their parents are just not nice people. But at the same time, it also could have been better. One more thing about growing up Amish: you will never hear the words "I love you." Never. It's just not a thing, and it's not even something as in like you're traumatized later on because you were never told that. It's just not. It's just not a thing. Parents, siblings, nobody says that. But somehow we still knew that they cared about us. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to hear more of my story. And also follow me on TikTok at IdaMachiba1 and on Instagram at IdaChooseHappiness. I will be posting videos and answering some questions on both of those platforms as well.